So if anyone watching this video doesn't know, this month of September, it's actually PCOS Awareness Month. And I thought it would be great if I was to just upload a video talking about my experience with PCOS, what PCOS is first of all, my experience with PCOS, and just to share my story with you guys and just, do my part to spread awareness about this disorder. Now you guys, I was actually supposed to record this just before September and then post it on the 1st, but honestly, I am the queen of last minute things. Like, it'll be off brand for me to actually post stuff on time. But I figured it's better late than never. I hope you guys enjoy this video. It's probably not going to appeal to everyone, and that's okay. Just, stay tuned for my next video. If you don't want to watch this, that's fine. Okay, so there are a couple of disclaimers that I have to put out before I keep going with this video. Number one, this video is going to contain a lot of private information. It's going to be talking about bodies, particularly women's bodies, my body. So we're going to be talking about uteruses, ovaries, periods, bodily stuff, hormones, things like that. If that kind of creeps you out or grosses you out, number one, grow up. Number two, you can just skip this video. I'm going to be uploading different types of content as far as reviews and stuff like that, so you can just stay tuned for that. But yeah, my second disclaimer is that I am no doctor. This video is not by any means to tell you what to do or teach you what to do about your own body. This is just my experience. Don't take my word for anything. Honestly, don't take any YouTuber's word for anything. You need to do your research, and if you have further questions, like medical questions and things like that, please go to a doctor or some type of specialist. They will definitely know more about it than me. I am definitely open to answering questions about my experience and what I did, but this is by no means giving you guys any type of directions or telling you guys what to do. That's not what this is. So please keep that in mind. So having gotten that admin stuff out of the way, we can skip and get to the video finally. So what is PCOS? Just before I get into that, please know that I'm going to be saying PCOS, or I'm going to refer to it as PCOS, just so you know, it's the same thing. I'm talking about the same thing. I'm kind of just used to saying PCOS in my head. PCOS stands for polycystic ovary syndrome. Now, it is a common hormone disorder that affects women everywhere. 6 to 10% of women actually experience PCOS, and by the age of 40% of women who do have PCOS develop diabetes or become pre-diabetic. From my understanding of what doctors, gynecologists, different types of specialists told me and my research, is basically a collection of different symptoms that can affect women's lives in multiple ways. And it can have an impact on all aspects of women's lives. So that could be mental health, physical health, and even social health as well. So to get an official diagnoses of PCOS, you would have to have at least 2 of the 3 following symptoms. So the first one is irregular periods. Basically, your periods don't come monthly or basically when they're supposed to. The second is a blood test that basically indicates a high presence of androgens. This could manifest itself by, acne or have excessive body or facial hair. I think that's called hirsutism or something. I can't pronounce things and I don't talk properly, but I believe that's what it's called. I'll put it on the screen somewhere. The third symptom is an ultrasound that kind of shows cysts in the ovary. So they look like tiny, just cyst-like things. I don't know how to explain it properly. That you'd see from an ultrasound on your ovaries. This is not, however, a conclusive list. There's a whole range of symptoms that you could have. Just off the top of my head, acne I've mentioned, excessive body hair I've mentioned, thinning of the hairline is another one. like kind of like male pattern baldness, insulin resistance, weight gain, depression, anxiety, body image issues, and even more like serious than the ones that I've already mentioned, it could lead to endometrial cancer and diabetes, as I've said before, and of course infertility issues. So I got diagnosed in February 2020, I think. Honestly, like I kind of known that I've had it like way before then, because I've kind of heard about what PCOS is, but at the time I didn't know exactly what it was. But when I started to experience like my symptoms, I kind of had a guess. And honestly, for me, don't do this, but I'm the kind of person who, like, I hate going to clinics or hospitals or anything. Like, they really like creep me out. I have like a phobia of like clinics and hospitals, so I never go unless I feel like really sick, or I feel like I'm borderline near death, basically. Like, I just hate going. Don't do this, by the way. Don't be like me. So what I want to do is take you guys back a little bit. So my first period was when I was 13 years old. And honestly, at the time, I didn't have that much knowledge about, you know, the female reproductive system. And I didn't really, you know, think twice about it when I first had my period, because it was just like, you know, this is starting, so whatever. It wasn't really a thing. But now that I'm thinking about it, there was actually not much that was abnormal about my periods at first. But thinking about it now, I noticed, well, now I realize that my periods are actually very heavy. I would say, I don't want to say heavier than normal, because what is normal? But they, in my understanding perspective, they were really heavy, and it would come with cramps as well. And I noticed the older that I got, the more painful the cramps were, and they were so painful to the point that I honestly, like, the first 2 days of my period, like, I couldn't like do anything. Like, I was basically just useless. I didn't want to leave my bed. I didn't want to do anything because they just hurt so much, and I just felt so weak because of, like, you know, how heavy basically that they were. So because my periods were getting like really bad, I decided to actually, you know, go do something about it, because I'm in Canada. So here, like, you go to like your family doctor, or, you know, just like a walk-in clinic, and then you get referred to like a specialist. So I got referred to a gynecologist, and I told her about like how heavy my periods were, because she asked me some questions, and basically we figured out like everything was fine. They were just really heavy. So she suggested going on birth control. Yeah, so I think this is where everything started to just go downhill. She briefly told me about like the different options for birth control, and then we decided that I was better off using like a progestin only type method of birth control, because anything with estrogen in it, basically, it wasn't recommended for me because of my like family health history. We settled on the Depo or Depo-Provera shot. Then with the Depo shot, you only have to take it like I think it's every 3 months. Forgive me if my facts are wrong. I'll try and correct myself when I'm editing if I make any mistakes and put it on the screen. I believe it's every 3 months that you should take it. Whew. And let me tell you, like, I don't regret much in my life, but this is one of the things that I regret taking, using, whatever. So I noticed that I started to gain weight. You know, I wasn't like huge overnight, but I could just sense, I could just feel it basically. Something was off. I couldn't put my finger on it. I noticed my mood changes as well. I was less motivated to do things. It was more than sadness. I would definitely call it depression. I was anxious. I wasn't happy a lot of the times. I wasn't myself. I noticed my acne started to get really bad. Like, I mean, and this was like maybe just less than 2 months into, you know, my first shot. So weight gain, mood issues, mental issues, acne. Like, I can remember my skin was so bad, I would wake up every day with like a new pimple on my face. Like, it was so bad. I've never had like perfect skin. I've always had like kind of acne prone skin, but this time it was like, I don't think my skin has ever been in that state before. It was horrendous. It was absolutely awful, and nothing I was doing could help the acne. I was so down. I just felt so ugly and so horrible. It was a really low point in my life when I first started that method of birth control. Thinking about it now, and this is probably totally medically inaccurate, but I honestly feel like the depot shot is kind of what triggered possibly my PCOS. Everything just changed so quickly and became worse, and obviously that was the only thing that I did. So yeah, I'm gonna put the blame on that. Maybe my PCOS would have been triggered by something else later on, I'm not sure, but that's just what I think. Plus, to be honest, like, I blame everything on PCOS. Like, I mean, if anything bad happens to me, it's PCOS. If it like rains too much outside and I step on like a puddle or something, I blame it on PCOS. So it's just, you know, it's just what I was feeling at the time. My symptoms began to get much worse, and then when it was time for my second shot, so that was like 3 months later, I spoke with my gynecologist and I told her that about everything that was happening, and she kind of shrugged it off and was just like, nah, it's okay, just take the second one, it will get better, you get used to it, blah blah blah. I was basically just, because I told her at the time, because the weight gain at like month 3 was particularly bad. Maybe it wasn't that bad in her perspective, and that's fine, but I wasn't happy with the amount of weight that I gained. I think I gained at least, honestly thinking about it, I think I gained at least 20 to 30 pounds in that space of time. And the thing is that it wasn't getting better, it was just like, it was getting much worse. And I told her, and I was basically, you know, my concerns were basically dismissed. And I was told that it was fine, I should just take another one, my body will get used to it, things like that. So I took the second one. But then again, yes, my periods had actually stopped. My periods had actually stopped. I didn't get any periods at all. So I get that was the pro, but there was just way too many cons. I was gaining even more weight. My mental health seemed to be getting even worse, and I just felt my skin issues were like, honestly, like, it was such an ugly phase of my life, I think. So I made the decision to just stop. I wouldn't go back for my third shot. I would just leave it alone, because I know that the effects of Depo kind of like stay on, you know, for a while. So see if my body like just adjusts back to the way it was. And even if my periods are going to be like back and they were bad, I would live with it. I mean, it's only like one time out of the month I can survive like a really bad period, like once a month. So I figured that was a sacrifice at the time that I was willing to make. Years had gone by at this point. Nothing was getting better. Like, it was just, I don't even know, it was just a roller coaster of crap. Like, it just kept, time was going, I felt like I was gaining more weight. My body issues started to become worse. My mental health was progressively getting worse as well. My periods hadn't come back, like, at all. At this point, like, still non-existent. I'm trying to think, I think maybe I've like kind of repressed a lot of my memories from this part of my life. Like, I couldn't actually, I'm gonna be honest, I couldn't even look in the mirror because I just felt so horrible. Like, I would, like, if I would go like take a shower or something, or go to the bathroom or something like that, I would purposefully ignore the mirror because I did not want to look at myself, because it was such a crappy place for me. When I would look in the mirror, I wouldn't see myself. I would see just some ugly monster, basically. Like, it wasn't me, and it was just gross. It was just a horrible time for me. I'm gonna try and not get emotional in this video, by the way. I don't want to, but I'm sorry if I do, so just bear with me on this. My period came back, but as time progressed, they became very irregular. I got to the point where, you know, just before I got my diagnosis in 2020, my periods were like, I got like 3 periods a year. Like, it was a crazy time. My mental health was basically in the toilet. So when I went to go see a doctor, she so basically I have, if you remember the 3 of the symptoms that I told you in the beginning of the video, I basically have 2 of them. I did do an ultrasound to see if I had any cysts, and I actually don't. The last time I checked, I don't know if I do now, it's possible for them to develop. I don't know, but when I did have an ultrasound, there were no cysts present on my ovaries or anywhere else. My blood work did show a high presence of, or a higher than the normal range of testosterone, which is an androgen. So I got the blood work done, and the irregular periods, those 2 symptoms were enough for me to be kind of like officially like diagnosed with PCOS. Which, thinking about it now, is kind of a relief, because I have been back and forth with doctors and gynecologists, taking different tests and kind of like being, you know, dismissed and not really taken seriously. And I'm dealing with the stress of the disorder and knowing within myself, maybe I don't have it, but there's definitely something wrong. Like, and then just basically not being taken seriously, or just told to, you know, exercise and eat right and stuff, and not being pretty much educated or told anything else. It was very frustrating. So what is the hardest part about having PCOS? For me, obviously, like, the physical symptoms that I had, or have, whatever, have, I will use them interchangeably. They were rough to go through. I mean, I know the whole periods thing, like not having them anywhere close to how regular I was before, well, before the birth control anyway. And just dealing with my weight gain, because I would also have cravings, and I think that had to do with insulin resistance. My cravings for really bad junk food, which would, I mean, of course, leads to the weight gain. That sucked. But I think the worst part for me dealing with this condition was the mental aspect of it. In my darkest times dealing with this, I think the thoughts that I had about myself and my body image, and not just the way I looked, but the way that I felt. I've told myself, thinking about it now, and it makes me really emotional, because I have told myself the most ugly things, like the ugliest things that I don't think any other person can say things about me that's as bad as what I said to myself in my head when I was going through this. And then to deal with that, and then I would be down on myself, and I would judge myself harshly and say horrible things, and then the guilt and the shame, and honestly, like, the confusion that comes with that as well. It was just like putting crap on top of crap, and it was so hard to deal with, because and it's one of those things where it's hard to explain. It's hard to explain to someone who it's hard to explain to someone who isn't going through it, because I mean, people can be as empathetic as possible, but they aren't wearing your shoes and they don't know what it feels like to deal with a condition that not only messes like with your physical health but with your mental health as well, because hormonal imbalances often lead to mental health issues. I don't know if I had body dysmorphia, or I don't know what it was. Again, I really tried to like not diagnose myself, but when I would look at myself, I didn't see anything good. And you know, people say like the mirror shows you the truth, blah blah blah, whatever. But I mean, yeah, it does. But with this thing, I didn't see. I would see myself, but something in my head will kind of like filter and manipulate and just morph the image that I'm seeing into something completely different. And what I saw was a mess. It was just a horrible mess. And the thing is, like, you try to, and the thing for me, I'm not very good at, you know, opening up to people. I'm not. And the thing, which is weird because I'm doing this video and talking to you guys about something like so personal, but I am not, there's something about opening up to someone and them not really getting you that just puts me off the entire thing. But like when you do open up, and when I would, you know, discuss this thing with people, they'll be like, oh well, you know, it's okay, you'll get better, just, you know, just work out, just eat right, it's fine, do whatever, you know, it'll get better, and like you look fine. But I mean, and yeah, that's like them trying to help, and I'm grateful for that, but it's much more, what I was feeling was much more than, oh, I've just gained weight. It was much deeper than that. It was so heartbreaking for me. I'm even thinking about it now, there's a certain guilt that comes with how horrible I was to myself at the time. But yeah, I feel the mental health and the emotional aspect of, I mean, the depression hit me so hard. I would wake up, there could be days that I would wake up and I would just burst into tears. And I wouldn't, honestly, like I couldn't articulate into words what the issue was. I didn't know if it was one small thing that set me off and just triggered me, or it was a big thing that I was ignoring and not paying attention to and it just hit me like a ton of bricks. I didn't know what it was, but I would just cry. And not just like, you know, just, you know how like they cry like sometimes in movies, it's just like one tear. Like I would like honestly ugly cry. It was rough. Just feeling so alone and embarrassed and ashamed of myself, how I felt, how I looked physically and how I felt inside was the hardest part for me. It sucks because this disorder can have visible symptoms, but it can also have invisible symptoms as well. So that makes it hard for people to not only understand, but to, you know, take it seriously. And dealing with that is rough. It's rough because you just feel so alone through the whole thing. But what have I been doing to get better? So, the way that I see things in life is that everything happens for a reason. Now, even when that thing that happens is horrible and awful and sad, it is something that you can learn from. Until I did get my diagnosis in 2020, I think it was a defining moment for me because it made me realize that my mental health is just as important as my physical health, and I needed to stop neglecting myself and actually start to do something that would improve who I was not just like physically and my health and my physical health and stuff like that, but my mental and emotional health as well. And actually starting to care for myself and see the value that I bring to not just myself, but to people who care about me and my friends and my family, and do something to maybe not go back to the person I was, but just to improve and become a better version, of myself. So how did I do this? This involved me, just making small adjustments, because the type of person I am, I don't think it's a good idea for me to like jump in deep and make huge life changes at once, because I think then it's easier for me to fail at those. So I tried to start small, take baby steps, and get to the bigger stuff. So I just started to make small changes in my diet. I started to exercise a little bit more regularly, and not just and change my couch potato status, and actually start like moving around a little bit. But not just making changes that had to do with my physical health and trying to get my body together, but things that actually make me happy and reduce stress. So I'm just going to briefly talk about my exercise routine, briefly go over like diet changes that I've made. I've recently gotten into resistance training, body weight training, using like resistance bands, dumbbells, things like that. There's this fitness trainer, and she does exercise videos on YouTube. She's so good. I totally recommend her. Her name is Jane Kate Fitness on YouTube. She is wonderful. She has a whole range of exercises. A lot of them are low impact type exercises, so no crazy jumping, running, stuff like that, which is great for people with PCOS, because with PCOS our bodies tend to get stressed out very easily, and stress and PCOS, they do not go together. So you don't want to do anything, well, this is what I read, you don't want to do anything that stresses out your body too much, and that even includes exercise as well. So for me, weight training and resistance training has been great. I try to work out every part of my body at least twice a week, and I can do that, and like just doing, even if it's just like I don't do anything crazy. I only do like maybe 30 minutes worth of workouts 4 days a week. So I try to work out upper body, lower body at least twice a week. As far as my exercise routine, that's basically it. Not anything too complicated. I'm still just getting started. My diet, again, I haven't made like huge changes, but I have done just little things that have made me feel, and I believe look a little bit better. So I tried to have like less dairy, because dairy is actually, dairy and PCOS, research has been done on it, and it's kind of not recommended for us to have a lot of dairy, because it kind of worsens the insulin resistance that can lead to inflammation. So it's not recommended that we actually like consume any type of dairy at all. I still do. But I've definitely cut down by at least 70%. I also try to have more protein and less carbs. Now people recommend like just cutting carbs completely for women with PCOS. I'm not one of those women I'm not going to recommend that, because I don't do it. Again, I'm not a nutritionist. If you have diet issues, it's really helpful to go to like a nutritionist, so that you can like work together with them to create basically the perfect diet for you. Hey guys, I just wanted to show you some of the things that I like to snack on when I get like those cravings. I'm I apologize about the lighting in here. It's really bad. I'm in my kitchen and I get zero light. That's good. So I apologize for that. So I'm just gonna go over them quickly. So I just have my nuts, like boiled nuts. Those are really good for fiber, protein, stuff like that. Fava beans, my protein bars. Oh, and these are my two favorite plant-based protein shakes that I like to have like after my workout. And then I just have, if you look in the back, I'm gonna move the camera a little bit. If you look in the back, I have just spinach and a whole like variety of like frozen fruits. For some reason, I just discovered the treasure that is frozen fruits. They're really good. For some reason, I thought they weren't gonna be like healthy, but that's kind of dumb. They're just as healthy as like fresh fruits. And then like the pros of this is, you know, I don't have to like they don't go bad, so they just stay in your freezer, and then I can get like a whole variety of fruits any time of the year, so that's good. Oh, and I also have hemp hearts, hemp seeds as well. Those are really good. Another good source of protein, clean, vegan friendly protein that I just chuck into either my smoothies or my protein shake in the morning after a workout. Yeah, so that's it. I'm gonna go back to editing now, and yeah, I'll see you guys soon. Bye! For me, I haven't cut out carbs, but I have significantly reduced consuming carbs as well, and just focused on trying to get in as much protein, but good clean protein, as much as I can. So those just small changes I think have made like a huge difference. I find that eating more vegetables, cutting down like refined sugars has made such a difference to me. I think my skin is getting better. I think as far as weight loss, I think I have lost a little bit of weight. I still think I'm struggling with the weight that I gained. Not I think, I am struggling with the weight that I gained when I was on birth control. I wish I have like a before picture to show you guys, but I never take pictures like from the neck down before, ever, because I was just so self-conscious. If I find a suitable one, I will post it, and then I'll post what I look like now, just so you guys can see if there's even a difference. I feel like there's a difference because they're clothes that I couldn't fit into before that I can fit into comfortably now. So for me, that's just how I kind of like see weight loss. I hate going on the scale. I hate checking my weight and stuff, because I just sometimes it's kind of discouraging, you know, when you feel like you haven't lost as much weight as you would like. But I do feel better, and I think that to me is what is most important, that what it actually says on the scale. With all the changes I've made, I still make mistakes. I still eat things that I shouldn't eat sometimes. But I mean, with the diet thing and the food thing, everything in moderation. Basically, like some days I don't work out, but I know that I should. But I mean, if I'm not feeling it, if I'm not like mentally there, I just, you know, take a break and then I go right back to it. And I'm proud of the progress that I've made, because thinking about where I was then and where I am now is like night and day. And this is something that I have done, you know, I mean, not by myself, because with this whole thing, I prayed, and I'm so grateful, and I feel so blessed to even be in this position, making this video for you guys, and, you know, just so you can see that things do and can get better. So one of my hopes for the future moving forward. So I'm currently working with my gynecologist to figure out what to do about getting my periods back regular, because right now they are still really irregular. My periods are still very, very sparse. I'm still at like maybe having 4 periods a year, and it kind of bothers me, because I think about, you know, potentially being able to have children, you know, later on. And it makes me sad that I might have fertility issues. I don't know. But I haven't given it too much thought, basically because I'm not at that stage yet and anything can happen between now and then. So I'm hoping for the best. So I am getting that sorted. That is my hope for myself, and I just hope to, just improve and get better mentally and emotionally. I still have my down days where I don't feel good about myself, and I think I still have kind of residual guilt and shame surrounding a lot of things. Yeah, so I still do get down days, but I think I am much better at picking myself up now, just from the experience that I've had and just everything that has happened. Praying has helped me a lot, and having a support system as well has helped me. Having truly supportive friends and family around me has helped as well. Spotting things that are no good for me and stress me out, and things that don't uplift, things and people that don't uplift me, spotting that and just moving on from it is what I'm really working on and trying to improve and grow spiritually, emotionally, mentally, all of those things. And my hope for PCOS in general, outside of my own personal experience with it, is that the medical community, medical space starts to take this disorder seriously and starts to listen to women when they tell you that something is off. My experience with even just getting a diagnosis in the first place was complete crap. This is not a video about me bashing doctors and healthcare professionals. You guys do an amazing job. This is not about that. It's just that in my experience, when I told certain people about what it is that I was going through and what it is I was feeling, I was kind of just basically dismissed and not really, and even worse, not really told anything. I felt like a lot of the things that I know about PCOS now is really through just the internet and talking to other people, listening to other people's stories, videos like this. That's pretty much where I would say 60% of my information came from. And also, the other part of it that is the experience that I've had. Because for me, I don't mind if I go to a doctor and they tell me, okay, you know what, I really don't know what's wrong. There's something wrong here, but I personally don't know what's wrong, so I'm going to refer you to someone who might know. I don't mind that at all. But what is not okay is you gaslighting me and telling me that there's absolutely nothing wrong and I should just, time will basically sort everything out. Giving me what you think is the quick fix that doesn't address my actual issues. That's not okay, and that's a problem. And I can only imagine how many women have gone through this and are probably just going about their days undiagnosed and not getting the help and the information that they need. I think that's truly heartbreaking, and I think that we really need to do something about that and start taking women and women's health seriously. So I'm going to leave some resources in the description of this video about PCOS, just a little bit more about it. And I highly recommend the subreddit about PCOS. I'm going to leave a link. That has been super helpful with people just talking about their experiences, just different research that's happening in the PCOS community. People just ranting about different things that you probably will connect to. Say anything basically. If you had a rough day, if you had a good day, you can say whatever you like, share whatever you like, and I really recommend going on Reddit and seeing what's happening on there. What I have to say to anyone who knows they have PCOS because they've been diagnosed, or thinks they might have it, or know somebody who might have it or who does have it, I understand how frustrating it is going through this disorder and how much of a roller coaster and how it affects even things that sometimes we don't even think of. And it does affect it in a negative way, is to know that there's hope and there are people who love you and there are people who will support you. And I encourage you to just try and get the help that you need. If you go to a doctor and you feel like they're not doing what they're supposed to do, if you feel like they're not taking you seriously, you just go to try another one, try another doctor, and advocate. Basically make sure that you self-advocate and push for the care that you deserve and the health care that you need, because this is not something that you can try, but it's hard to deal with alone because there's so many things that could come into play and you could feel overwhelmed, and you don't have to go through this alone. And I also want you to know that there are so many other women, going through this. Some have a complete hold of the disorder and they're doing great. Some are just, getting into it and getting into the steps and trying to get better. I find myself just being in the middle sometimes, not really knowing what to do, and sometimes I feel like I have a grasp on it. No matter how you feel, you deserve love and you deserve respect and you deserve care. So that's pretty much it, guys. Sorry about if this video is like not what you want to watch or not what you're expecting. It really was just for me to share my story and my journey so far and to bring as much awareness as I possibly could. I don't have a huge platform, but I still think that it's important for me to do what I can to bring awareness to things that really, really need attention. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you guys in my next video. Thank you so much. I love you guys. Bye!